Hello everyone. I'm honored to be welcoming Mr. Werner Gruber. Mr. Gruber is currently the Vice President of Design for Saleen and has been a senior exterior designer for Ferrari and a designer for Pininfarina. Overall, he has close to 20 years of experience contributing to and leading the exterior design phase of some of the finest automotive modern icons. He has contributed to the design of the Ferrari F12 Berlinetta and the rear-end design phase for the Ferrari GTC4 Lusso. He has also led the exterior design phase for the Ferrari Portofino and has also led the exterior design phase for the LaFerrari and its track-oriented version, the LaFerrari FXXK. Now, I usually don't use bold words to describe my guests' achievements. Their experience and said achievements speak volumes. Nothing else is necessary. But Mr. Gruber's journey is nothing short of a miracle, and I believe his life path, his experience, is a testament that when a young person, especially an extremely young person, has a tendency, an inclination, maybe a talent, something that they want to do all the time, regardless of where they are, doesn't really matter where they come from, doesn't really matter if their family has the necessary monetary means to send them to the higher echelon of education. All it takes is for the correct tutor to go up to that young person and tell them that what they want to do is necessary and it's ethically immoral if they don't follow what they're passionate about. Don't get me wrong, this interview is by no means a motivational piece or a self-improvement class. It's a seasoned professionals, a seasoned designers, self-reflection of successes, setbacks, adversity he met, adjustments, lessons, and overall advice. Mr. Gruber wants to offer to the younger generation of designers, but I could add young individuals who want to follow something meaningful, something that they really want to do. So with that in mind, I want you to enjoy this interview, enjoy the journey of a young boy from a very small city in Italy who came to be one of the leading exterior designers of some of Ferrari's modern icons.
Where I come from, the people would never think about being an artist or a designer. It's not really common there. Kind of lost my not a dream, but I thought it would never be possible. I didn't even know how what is a designer, how is a car built, so I always had the passion, of drawing cars. I was not good at it in the beginning. I liked
It's
it.
incredible. It's incredible. Why did you want to become an automotive designer? What is that element that drew you into the role?
When it's when I like you when I was a kid, I was like I remember. I think it started when I was like 5, 6 years old. I always liked everything what's around cars and I grew up in I grew up in the north of Italy in the Dolomites where there's lots of artisanry people. For example, I worked at how do you say it? Construction of because my father was like in that business of construction of houses. So I was always around in workplaces, no? So tools, trucks, and cars as well, because my father introduced me to Formula One, and we were watching the races. And in Italy, on Sunday, when you go to lunch, in every bar, in every restaurant where you go, you have like the Formula One race transmitted. So and we were always following all the races, and also where I grew up, there were like these mountain races, the hill climb races. So my father brought me to those because for the Formula One we didn't have the money, so we went to these hill climb races. They were free, and we were there in the morning at 5 o'clock to see how the cars arriving, the drivers, and that was like always strong of my memories, no. And slightly I liked drawing, no, and I was like drawing cars when we were around. I always brought my paper and something, and I was drawing. And but then at school, obviously in my area there is no design, nothing. There's more hard work, you know. So I kind of lost my not the dream, but I thought it would never be possible to become a designer. I didn't even know how what is a designer, how is a car built. So and then at yeah, I always had the passion of drawing cars. I was not good at it in the beginning. I liked
It's
it.
incredible. It's incredible.
And then um, yeah, I was kind of thought, yeah, I will never be a designer. Drawing cars, maybe, well, like art, or I don't know. I didn't really go dive into this subject, and but I still always was drawing, and at school I was already thinking to go in informatics or do something like that. And my math teacher, she was a very nice person, because when she was explaining math, she saw me drawing, no. So and instead of being angry with me, she took me over one day and said, I was like, it was like I was 18 years old, so it was already late, no, because um, where I come from, the people would never think about being an artist or a designer. It's not really common there, no. When I was that age, no, so I kind of forgot it, this thing, no. And she was taking me over and said, "Hey, why do you draw when I explain math? No, you should pay attention." I said, "Ah, sorry, teacher. I know I should pay attention to what you're saying. No? She said, no, I'm just joking. I have a friend. He's teaching design at the uni in my city. No, and I said, oh really? Ah, wow, nice. Okay. She said, if you want, I can introduce you to him, and you should go ahead with that path. No, and I thought, wow, that would be cool. No, but I already kind of thought to study informatics, but then I went at my friend's house. So this is all really strange because I was kind of never thinking about being a designer. No, and I went to my friend's house, and his cousin told me, look, there is this school in Turin, and I said, wow, it's design. Yeah, it's design. It's you can choose. It's like fashion design and automotive design, transportation design. I said, wow, oh really? I didn't know that there's like that you can study this stuff. No, so I went to the website and I wrote to them. And I forgot. Sorry, I forgot one thing because some years before, 2 years before, I was like, I'm a big Lancia fan. Lancia, now it's a dead brand, unfortunately.
Course, yeah.
And I sent some sketches to Lancia, no, and but they were like ugly, no, because I was like, I never had like art classes. I didn't know how to sketch properly, so it's all like the perspective and stuff, no. And I didn't even expect that they answer me back, no. But after 1 month or 2 months, I think I already forgot everything. They wrote me a letter back. They said, "Oh, thank you for your interest, and unfortunately, we cannot take ideas without patent." I was like a kid, no? But thank you for your interest and for your passion, and it was like the letter had like the Lancia headquarters address on it. I was really happy, not that at least I had an answer, no. But after that, I said, okay, no, that's it, no. So go on with your life, no. Now we go back to my friend's cousin, and she showed me this website, and I contacted them. And they told me, look, you need to pass a test to be admitted, and so send us some sketches. No? So I sent some sketches, and then they said, no, the director said it's okay. You can come to our school. No, here you have the forms to fill in, and then I realized that this was a private school. No, so. So it was very expensive at that time, no, and but fortunately, my region where I live, they help people. If you cannot reach the amount, they will help you, no. So they gave me a scholarship. My region where I live, to the government in northern Italy, and they helped me to make this school. So this is how I went into car design, no.
It's I would never expect such depth on your path, and it sounds like a true success story because you had a dream, it was difficult, you thought you couldn't make it, you gave up on it because it wasn't normal. The key element that I saw in your story is your math teacher. So
Yeah,
I think this gives a very important lesson of you need perspicacious and intelligent people who can see something in you and they can guide you accordingly. Maybe if that math teacher wasn't there, you wouldn't be here now. Maybe you would be something totally different. So, how did you end up in Pininfarina? How did this
yeah.
happen?
This happened when my school was the IED, and in Turin. And let's say when I started, the school was still a good school. I think in 2000, was it 2002 or three? I think 2002. I saw, and there was like they made a lot of selection that time, and each class had like 12, 13 people, 14. And obviously after in 2006 they started being very commercial, and the quality of the school went a little bit down. But I remember when I started, there were like the class above me. When I was in the first year, the third year, the people were very skilled, very talented people, and it was like admiring. When you came to school, basically we lived there, no, because the classes were at night, and we went there in the morning and sketching there with the big guys from the third year, and you were like learning, or like sucking all the what they gave you if they
Mhm.
wanted to. And yeah, so and it was in Turin, and all the teachers were like working in the branch, no. So all the teachers were actually working by day, and at night they taught you what was necessary. And there were like many people, many teachers were from Lancia, Alfa Romeo, Fiat, and also Pininfarina, Bertone, Giugiaro. There were many teachers. So yeah, and in other many studios. Now at that time there were still a lot of studios, and so we had a direct contact to the teacher and to that world, no, because the industry was still around that in that field, no. So yeah, at the end in Pininfarina,
Mhm.
I ended up there because of two reasons. Because the first reason was that the thesis project we did was like we did it with Ferrari, and that time, and my team, we our project was like the winning project. There were like five or three winners, I think, and we were one of them. And the prize was 6 months of internship in Ferrari or Pininfarina. No, at that time Ferrari didn't have a proper design studio, because
Mhm.
Pininfarina was designing the Ferrari at that time, and they opened up one in 2010, a proper one, without with the mission to be autonomous. No, and so this was the number one reason, because the price was that 6 months of internship. And the second reason was my mate I was studying with. He was older than me, and 1 year above me, and we were living together. We had no money, so we were doing everything together. We shared one room with two beds, really bad, but we shared everything. And he really, what he learned, he taught me, and we were like all the day sketching at home, preparing the for the lesson at night, and I was looking what he's doing, and 3D, and he was like in the third year. He helped a teacher from Pininfarina, Mr. Vermeersch. He has now his own design studio. He was the director of Pininfarina, Louis Vermeersch, the Belgian guy, and he helped him and in a thesis project. And at the end, he went to work there in Pininfarina, and we were like best mates, no. So he was like my brother, no, this guy, and. After when my year was finished, third year, he was like, "Hey, why you come to us, no, to do at least an internship?" No, I said, "Yeah, I would love to, no," and because he found out that they were always searching for internship people, no, but that time it was not easy to get foreign people because of the visa and stuff. It was really difficult for a company to take foreign people to make an internship. And as they saw my name, it was German, my name, no, but I'm Italian, no. So they thought I'm German, so they wouldn't take me, no, because it was a big bureaucracy going to get the permission for a foreign guy, and no, let's take Italian. It's easier anyway. We till the
Oh.
situation changes. So he saw that, and he said, "No, take this guy. He's Italian. He's not German." No, I go, really, but he has a German name. No, I should take this guy. No, yeah, I know him. I know him. I know him. So they called me and said, "Hey, you want to come to have an internship with us?" I said, "Of course." And so I end up in Pininfarina. No, it's a story. No.
Uh, I'm sure we're gonna see this in the future as well. Not future, in the near future when we talk about the other companies you worked for. but your stories are true rags to riches stories.
Sorry,
Because I can see your train of thought. You're talking about the roles you undertook, and the way you approach these roles isn't like a direct way, not in a direct way, but it's like these indirect methods that you approach your roles as well, and you're introduced into them. And I think it brings out a very important message to the people and students who will see this interview, that it doesn't always work your way. It doesn't always work immediately. It may take years. It may take a friend who's going to help you. It may take perseverance to achieve your goals as well. So it's thrilling. Could you expand a little bit on the projects you worked with Pininfarina? To the extent you can, of course, because I'm sure you're bounded by NDAs.
No, I went there, and of course I was like, my dream was to work there, no, because before my plan was to, when I finished my thesis project, the situation was not the best, no, in the automotive sector, no, in 2005 I finished. So I thought it would be very hard to get a job, no, and I had I wanted to, let's say I always had a pet. I need to explain more, because where I come from, our our region, now it's Italy, but before World War One, it was Austria. No, so we have like a hybrid. We speak German and Italian. No, and there's always still a little friction between those two cultures. No, I mean we grew up with two cultures. Also, the television is German and Italian and Swiss and Austrian. We capture everything in this area. And there's still a friction, no, because between the southern culture and the northern one, no? And I remember my father always had Italian cars, but not for a general reason, no. So I was always into Italian cars, but he never told me, oh no, the Italian cars are better or more beautiful. He just had a Lancia, and my friend, they had like BMW and Mercedes. And we were like, when we were kids, like 7 years old, when you go home from school, they were like, no, my car is bigger, more faster, no, and my father car goes to 240, and we have like this kind of friction, no. And but it's funny, no, it's not political or something.
Yeah.
So I always had a passion for Italian cars, but when I finished my school, I thought, okay, living in Turin, all the industry is there from the Italian auto industry. If I don't have any offer till now, or chance or opportunity, I think I need to go north. No, so I wanted to focus on BMW maybe, or so I had a friend in Austria, and he was like working for BMW, and I went there to see him, and he was like, "Okay, I offer your job, no?" So I went back with my car, and the same day they called me in Pininfarina, no, and. Yeah, so now I got lost. I forgot the question.
No,
Sorry.
no worries. If you could talk to me a little bit about the projects.
Other
you
projects,
undertook in
projects,
Pininfarina.
exactly.
Yes, yeah.
So exactly. So I started, and my first project was the Ferrari California. No, for the first project was the Maserati Gran Turismo, where I worked on the tail lights. This was when I really went there. They had do the taillights here, and but I was just working on it. Nothing went into production. So this, and then we were like in a fishbowl, and because we couldn't see what they're really doing. So they were just giving us some work for confidentiality. We couldn't see what they're doing. And then I worked on some Chinese projects and stuff, and at the end of the 6 months, I got a real job. They offered me the job there, and I remember the funny thing is that I think I didn't went always up or forward because of my talent or or because of my hard working, there was always a little bit of luck and some help, no,
Of
to go ahead.
course.
Because I remember at that time when I did the internship, the design director was Ken Okuyama, the Japanese guy, the designer of the Enzo, and he gave me some projects. I remember there was like a project nobody wanted to do, a gasoline generator. He said, "Did you do your homework?" I said, "Yeah, here. You gave me this generator to do." "Oh, perfect, nice, okay, okay." And the same day he went up to the HR department to ask to hire me. No, so I was really really happy. And then I started working on in the beginning on always Ferrari, because I was working with the guy who was living with me, California, and then I did some interiors. There was also a little dark moment, because as a designer, at least I am like this. Creativity doesn't come always like a constant. Sometimes you have ups and downs, no, and it's very for me sometimes the creativity is very fragile, no. So maybe you start your day doing some sketches, and then maybe you don't like them, and you feel like bad or preoccupied, and in the beginning, if you're not in the job, so you try to manage this biorhythm and to manage your feelings, and you need to be stronger. And I remember I did some projects for exterior, and they didn't really go well. So I was really depressed, and they decided to give me an interior project. So I was really enjoying that. I was doing an interior for the 458, a proposal, and at the end I did two full-scale models on that, and this was a little a sad moment, because I thought, oh shit, I am not good in exteriors, and which was my dream, no. And in the meantime, my first project what I won was the seat of the Ferrari challenge, and the special editions like the 430 Scuderia, and they still mounted today on those cars. The seat what I did, what I was, yeah, my proposal was chosen, and this was a little a nice moment, no. And then I did some interiors, and then I remember I started feeling better, and I was working on the Ferrari FF. It was like the first, not the first, but after a long time, the first four-seater. And it was like I remember we did a concept car in Pininfarina, the Synthesy. I don't know if you know that. And at that time, Ferrari wanted to, or let's say, the relationship between Pininfarina and Ferrari was not so good anymore, or was becoming.
It was around 2010 when the FF was introduced.
Yes,
am I
but
mistaken?
exactly, the work started 2 years before. No, it was much more before 2007.
2007. Okay.
Yes, but everything started with the restyling of the Scaglietti. The Scaglietti was at that time, yeah, not everybody loved it, no, me included.
The 612. Yeah.
Yeah, 612. Yes, exactly. You know?
Yeah.
And Ferrari was giving like 100,000 projects out. Try make a carryover Scaglietti with four seats. It has already four seats, but with a kind of shooting brake form in the back, which was like nobody would do it. Why did Ferrari this car and stuff? So this was one of my first projects too, and then it stopped and started again, and stopped and started again. And I remember at that time it was a sad moment, because Mr. Pininfarina died in a car accident, and he was a really really nice guy. He was like Mr. Montezemolo, the head of Ferrari later. He was like in the government involved, and was a very strong person. And after he died, obviously the relationship between Ferrari and Pininfarina was worse and worse. And Jean Todt at that time was was a big guy in Ferrari, and he went to our stand in Geneva and said, "Hey guys, if you do a proposal for our Ferrari, looking like the synthesis, you're back on track." No, so everybody was working on that, and we did this proposal, and at the end, they liked one sketch, and we went ahead with the model. And I remember I was like on my own. Nobody wanted to give me a CAD modeler, so I was modeling by myself, a CAD model. And one Saturday I was tired. I went full. No, I want to go home, have a small holiday. And I remember they called me and said, "Hey, your proposal was chosen." No? Very nice and happy, no? And then we were like developing it and. With the big guys, no, with more experience at that time. So this was also one of my first projects, working on the FF. Then it was like a gym for me, no. So it was like learning from the old designers in Pininfarina. And I have to say, Pininfarina. This is not your question, but it's interesting because Pininfarina till now, in all the companies I worked for. It was one of the best design environments to work in, for at least for my career, because it has a big history, and there were like people. They were there for 20 years, and seeing them, how they sketch, how they work, how they do the models, it was really inspiring, and especially in a world like now, where you work in big companies and there are like 100,000 people working on one project, and you can have everything you want. Thinking how it was natural and inspiring, how those people worked. No, I mean, how they were conceptual and free, and it's still, I think, nice to think back and how it was to work there. No. And
it sounds very pure. It sounds very pure. It sounds as if it was a family, not a company.
it was a family, exactly. And also I had, when I was there, they changed 1, 2, 3 directors. No, first I was Ken Okuyama, then there was like Andrea Pininfarina himself, because they were searching another guy, and then Lowy Wermers. But all these people, they were never arrogant or I am the boss, and or prepare the presentation, or it was really everybody was protected to do the best in his function. No, there were like the creative designers, then the guys with more experience, they were doing already winning projects and doing their job. The manager did managing, interfering or losing your time. And there were not a lot of deadlines or stuff. It was really really cool to work in that way, and you had your space to think, and yeah, it was cool. And after the FF, I was working on the there was they started to work on the next Enzo, and those projects, they always stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. And then I was working on the F12 Berlinetta, which in Pininfarina, at the end my proposal got chosen, really, because before I was like helping, or maybe the first phase they picked a sketch and then you did a model and then somebody else would develop it, but always you could always be part of that, no, like on the FF. But on the F12, after a long time, I was already working there for 3 years or 4. Finally, I got a chosen project, no, and I could do my model and stuff. And yeah, but obviously, Pininfarina is it was always, since I know, since I went there, it was always like in a not easy position financially, so they couldn't offer you a very good salary. No, it was nice to be there to learn, to work on nice projects, but obviously at the end, if you want to grow, you need to do something. Otherwise, you earn always your little money and you cannot go anywhere. No, and I remember I was working on the F12 project. Also, that project started, stopped many times.
So you moved to Ferrari then?
Then I moved to
Yeah,
Ferrari.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the projects you undertook there? Maybe the working culture, your experience in general with the brand. How was your experience with the brand?
Yeah, for me it was like a dream, working directly for Ferrari. Because if you say, "Oh, I work for Pininfarina," some people would say, "What's that? Are they doing milkshakes or yogurt or what?" not everybody knows that, no.
Yeah,
But I don't care for the work for a famous company. I always loved the cars, no, and and being working in Pininfarina, because there are like two directions. There was like Bertone Lamborghini and Pininfarina Ferrari, no. And obviously, working there, you develop a certain pride of Pininfarina's ideology, culture, styling, no. And I kind of it was like a puzzle which needed to be done, no. Uh, Working directly for Ferrari, I always wanted because I like to talk to the engineers and find solutions. That's I always enjoyed that a lot, no. But in Pininfarina, we had engineers, but it was always like a middleman, no. So you ask something, and the engineer would ask you to the Ferrari guys, no. I mean, they're really good engineers, really brilliant there in Pininfarina, but they don't have the absolute power to do something. No, they can just show it, present it, and maybe from Ferrari they will take it. No, but being in Ferrari, you have more chance to go directly to the piece. No, and and it's always I always like to have like a problem and work around that. No, or solve it or make something, use the problem. As an opportunity, because I still think if you have like a white piece of paper, do something, it's really difficult, no? Because I think if you have a problem or a request, or it's like a story you tell, no? You can create your own story, no? It's more interesting. And then, yeah, going to Ferrari was like really a dream, and but we needed to start from zero because till that time, 2010. Ferrari had a design studio with maybe 15 people or 12, I don't remember. Before they started with Frank Stephenson, but then he took over to Fiat, and the new director was Donato Cocco from Citroën. And but they did mainly interiors and almost no exteriors. Maybe just some color and trim, wheel color and stuff. All the rest was done by Pininfarina. But when Mr. Manzoni came, he needed to build everything from zero. I mean, there was nothing. There was no clay room. There was no. Actually, there was like an office downstairs where the design studio was. It was very small, and Mr. Manzoni had to create everything from zero, no? And I mean, it sounds nice. It sounds like an adventure, but it was always also difficult, no? Because if you can build something, one project, like now the startup companies, they have a certain kind of respect from the company. They're designers. They need to build everything. They have maybe one, two projects. They have time. Not always a lot, but in Ferrari there was like this train going. It never stopped. No, so you didn't have time to think or to. So you had to do. Like, come on, no. There always was the money there, but time was always a problem, no. And yeah, he had to create everything from zero, including people. We needed to hire people, and the first project was the LaFerrari, no, the most important project for the company after the Enzo, no. Uh, so he was like the new design director with no base, no nothing to start, and he had directly the most important project. No, so he had a lot of pressure on him. No, well, obviously Pininfarina, they were trying to, yeah, of course, to defend themselves as best as they can. But yeah, so that was the first project. No.
So you took part in the LaFerrari design. I saw from your LinkedIn some sketches that looked like you took part in the LaFerrari FXXK. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I was the lead designer, design manager of the LaFerrari, then the Ferrari FXXK, then the Ferrari Portofino.
So this led you to Saleen. So you changed continents.
Yeah, yeah.
How did Saleen happen?
Saleen happened. It was like in this period when I was doing that project, and I was that time was really hard for me because I was just married, and we had a child, no, and it was all new for me. So there was no more time for myself. Everything was the baby, and that was the first difficulty in my life. And then at work, having these situations, I said, no, this is getting too. Um, I want to do something else. No, I now worked on this project. I really enjoyed. No. Um, Especially the FXXK and the Portofino, from a creative point of view, and also from as a manager or team leader, because I had a chance to work with all the youngsters, no, and having a lot of fun on the project, and it was really really beautiful, and I knew. In Italy, you don't get paid like in Germany or in France. No, salary is always a little bit lower, and also the contracts are in a different way. So I said to myself, now if I stay here, I always be at this kind of level, no. And so I inside myself, I knew I needed to change. I needed to do something different. No, I needed to know what happens if I change. No, and that time it was like a big boom of the Chinese companies. No, when everything started with Faraday Future, Byton, Lucid, Neo, all these kind of new startups, and on LinkedIn, every day you got 5 work offers from some Chinese supplier. And I remember I was in contact, and I also went to an interview for another Chinese company, but in Italy. But then it turned out that it was difficult, and they were like doing SUVs only, and I had not a really lot of experience on SUVs and stuff. And one day, a girl called me and said, "Hey, I have this offer here, Saleen." I said, "What, Saleen? Really?" And I remember Saleen when it came out with the S7. Um, I was like, I love Ferrari, but when the Enzo come out, for me it was like too ahead of its time, because now I love the car. But that time I thought, uh, this is a Ferrari, really? Why? No. So I didn't really identify myself with the Enzo, which now I love it. It's really nice. And I remember there was like the S7. There was like a picture I still remember in the desert of California, the red car, and I thought, wow, this is really exotic. And Saleen, how the name sounds, no? And I thought, wow, what are these guys doing? 1,000 horsepower and stuff. Wow, they're crazy, no? And when I was there, I said, wow, that's must be cool, no? So I did the interview, and then yeah, I had to convince my wife to move to China, and yeah, that's what we did, no? So
So which were the projects you got involved with whilst in Saleen?
In Saleen, yeah, it was like yeah, it was a joint venture with between Saleen here in California and Chinese government kind of organization, and yeah, we did all this stuff there, and the big show and stuff with Jason Statham. He went to China to be our ambassador, and somehow I don't know what really happened, but one day, then with COVID, many of us we decided to go back to our hometown because we in China we didn't know how will they lock us or what's gonna happen. No, so I remember we went to Italy for 2 weeks in 2020. Yeah, 2020, and when I came back after 1 month, because everything was unclear. No, should we go back or should we stay? Then I went to California here for 1 week to work here, and so it was really unclear what's going to happen. And I went back to China in March, and in June they said no, that the government they decided to not invest any more money into this project. And one day on the other, we were like without a job in China. It was not easy, and yeah, so there was a big factory in they built up, and there were like 2 projects almost in production. Everything was ready, but then the Chinese government decided to step out of the joint venture, and everything was like blew up. No, so
it is pretty sad. It sounds extremely heartbreaking.
Yeah,
for you to be putting all this work, this project to be almost in production, but then everything shuts off. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I assume this then led you to BYD, correct?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you for like the first time after years, you changed the trajectory of your design resume. Because BYD, and correct me if I'm mistaken, is more of a tech company.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and not a pure design company. So why did you make this choice to work for BYD?
Yeah, it's more logical and from the stomach than the brain, because my ex-boss from Ferrari, Mr. Lopez, was the head of interior design in BYD. And I called him. I said, "Hey, guy, I smell something strange here. Do you still need somebody here?" And he said, "Yeah, come over, man. I try to talk, and it won't be easy because it was in the full COVID time, and yeah, because before I went to Saleen, I also had an offer from BYD, before I started in China. So I went there to have 2 job interviews, and I went to Saleen and also to BYD. And at the end, I decided for Saleen because it's a sports car company, and I met Mr. Steve Saleen, and he's a really nice person, and so I decided for Saleen. But then everything went wrong, not for his fault, but for other people's. And I had a family, my kid without job in China. It was not really easy, no. So fortunately, I had the chance to get a job there. But I must say, in such a critical situation with COVID and being without a job, and if you go there, they pay you your rent, the school of the kids. So you, without wanting it, you get in a certain standard. But if one point the money is missing, you're in big trouble, no? Because you need to continue somehow, no? So yeah, so I was lucky to get a job there with Mr. Egger in BYD, and yeah, so
Is the nature of the job vastly different than your roles in Saleen, Pininfarina, and Ferrari? How did that dynamic shifted when you moved into BYD?
Okay. But first, there's a big culture change between Europe and China, and not because I mean the thinking, no, of how companies work. We're in USA here and in Europe. We tend more to think. I wouldn't say individually, but you have more time to think. You think more, and then you do it, no. And instead in China, you have lots of people, no. So when they start to think about a new company, they plan a big crowd of people. They would start working, no. So you need to change your way of thinking. We're maybe here or in Europe, we try to think about the costs, the timing. How can I make a job in less time with less money, no, in an effective way? In China, not because they don't need that, but it's you have the people, they need to work, no. So you have to change your way of thinking. And first, it was this, no, that you start in a company, and already in Saleen, I remember I had a plan in which is really small compared to BYD. That in 1 year I need to reach like 20 people when I was starting alone, and in 1 year I need to hire 20 people. For me, it was like huge, no, because when I started in Ferrari, there were like 50 people, no, but by myself build a team of 20 people in 1 year, no, it was like something huge. And in BYD, when I started, there were like 200 people, and I talked to a friend. Now there are 500. No? So it's how they grow, and maybe you start something, and then after some months, the president come and say, "Hey, you can have a new building there, so hire more people." How is the hiring
It's a
going?
very fast-paced way of how they structure their companies and how they source and put people within these companies and how they grow. It's way different than
Yeah,
Europe. Way different.
very different. Yes.
It's an honor. It's been an honor and a privilege to listen to you for an hour.
No, it's my
It's
my pleasure, man. Thank you.
no, please. It's more than twice the time I asked from you, and I thoroughly enjoyed your journey. And if I was able to, I'd be holding you here for like hours, talk to you about details. I'm sure you're bounded by NDA, so you cannot dive into like extreme details of the projects. But your journey is truly inspirational, and I'm sure that the people and students who will read these articles are going to be motivated and inspired to go after their dreams. See that not everything works your way, not everything's going to go your way, but you can make something substantial out of it and achieve similar, maybe greatness a lot as you did.
Okay, man.
So,
Thank you. Have a good one.
no
Huh?
worries. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
It means a lot.
Okay, man.
So,
Thank you. Have a good one.
no
Huh?
worries. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.